your level. I'm real boy, ask your pedal. You better dash from my class of rebels, cause you know we came to blast when we smashed the metal. Brooklyn, that's how we doing it. Brooklyn, that's how we doing it. Brooklyn, that's how we doing it. Brooklyn, that's how we doing
it. Brooklyn, that's how we doing it. Yo, welcome to the On Everything podcast. I'm your host, Gina Dream Brown. Today's a very special day. We have a very special guest today, Nadia. She's here with the book, Secrets of a Funeral Home. How are you doing today, Nadia?
I'm very excited to be here, very excited to meet you. You know, almost live, virtual live, whatever it is nowadays, and very excited to share the news about the book.
Everything is like, live nowadays. So it's, everything is virtual and, it's live. This is awesome. It's a great opportunity to promote the book. Of course, like I'm excited to get into some of the topics that you guys talked about in the book. Give us a little bit about your background. Like, how'd you get started? And, what was the idea behind creating the book? And show us the book, please.
Yeah. So, I got the book. Let me just put it here, so towards the camera, so you could see it. And then inside, inside, you got cool stuff. Like you got emojis, and you see this? Like, I don't know if you can see this. Let me just try to show it. I will show you the other one. So sex and caskets, anyone. So we talk about that too,
Oh my goodness.
I opened at the right place.
You're in the right place. Absolutely. Our show is called On Everything Podcast, so we talk about everything. So what were some of the ideas behind the book? What made you get started? And how long have you been writing?
Okay. I'll try to make the story really short. So I've been here in USA since 1998. Okay, so I've been here a while. I'm an attorney by day, writer by every day. So, well, I am an attorney, so I work in the real estate industry primarily. I do closings all the time, but my dream was always writing. And I had two educations. I had a literary education and I had a law degree. And so my parents sat me down and said, Nadia, what are you going to do? How are you going to earn money? And I said, well, Mom, Dad, I'm going to become an attorney. But then I kept writing, and I'm sure you called about, you heard about this little thing called the Academy, the Academy, the Oscars. So I'm not a bad writer. I'm actually in the top 2 to 5% of the country, which is, there is a thing called Nicholl Fellowship in Screenwriting. Nicholl is spelled Nicholl. And basically, if you want to be a scriptwriter and you want to try yourself, it's a huge, huge competition. So I'm, in it. It doesn't mean I made the movie because, the money for the movie comes, that's separate. But I'm a pretty good writer. So I decided to myself, what am I doing? Why am I sitting here just writing scripts, which is, I'm good at it. And by the way, if any producers see this, come over. But, I thought to myself, so I want to write something else. And I went on this network where you and I met also. And then a gentleman called me up and all out of the blue, and he says, I see you're a writer and I want to talk to you about my experiences. And Jean, when this happens, sometimes it's as boring as hell. Sometimes it's so boring. You don't want to, they say, oh, I have a great life. And I'm like, everybody on the block has a great life. I don't want to write about your life. I could write about my life. Why should I write about it? But then he goes to me, I am a funeral director. And I thought to myself, wow, a funeral director, this is a taboo subject. This is something that we regular people don't deal with. And I'm sorry to say, when somebody dies, now this is very serious, we'll help, all these feelings. We feel helpless. And the industry just takes advantage of us. And it's a taboo subject. Oh, here's my co-host, co-writer, Mr. Mortem.
Hello, Mr. Mortem. How you doing?
Hey, can you hear us?
Hello?
You there?
Okay, we'll let him work it out there.
Sure.
Okay.
So I'll just tell you what happened.
Hi, Mr. Mortem. How you doing today? Can you hear us?
Okay.
Can you hear us? We can hear you. Can you hear us? Okay, no problem. So I'll just tell you really quickly what happened. So Mr. Mortem, he's here with us. He's just getting, technical stuff. Yeah, we'll stand by. Don't worry.
Awakening. We'll stand by.
So he called me, and this gentleman has over 30 years of experience in the funeral industry, and he told me, I want to write things that people don't know. And I
Stand by.
thought this is very interesting. And so we'll talk about this right now. Basically, the thing
Mhm.
is, when you, like I was starting to say, when somebody dies, and this is going to happen to us, whether we want it or we don't want it, death is happening every time, especially in COVID. I mean, this
Yes.
is a reality. I've had death
Mhm.
happen to me, to people I love, to people I care about. It's every day. You
Absolutely.
basically, you're basically at the mercy of somebody else. You call a funeral home, the funeral home says do XYZ, you do XYZ. You don't know what the hell is
Mhm.
happening there. You don't know anything. And this is something that's just a world of select few, as I call it. You don't know anything at all, and they just take advantage of you. And then when I
Mhm.
read everything that he had to offer, Gene, I was blown away. It was like a lot of pages, most of it
Yes.
handwritten, some were typed. And I thought, okay, here I am with all this material. What do I do? And you know what I decided? I decided I'm going to entertain because I don't want people teaching me every day I go to work. I got school for my kids that I go
Mhm.
through with them. I got my husband,
Yes.
you got your husband, you got a wife, you got your,
Mhm.
wife, husband, whatever you got, but you got a significant other that's also teaching you. And I'm thinking, I
Yes.
don't want to teach nobody. I want to entertain. So I looked at it
Mhm.
and I thought, okay, what can we do about this? This is something that we can to survive it, to survive the experience, we can only laugh about it.
Mhm.
For me,
That's true.
sarcasm was like the way to go. So that's why I
Yes.
talked about, sex and caskets, this, that. I just,
Mhm.
and I showed it to him and I said, Mr. Mortem, do you like what I'm doing? And he was shocked. He said,
Mhm.
you saw how serious he looked when he's trying to access the computer, right?
Yeah.
This is how we approach the book, all right?
Mhm.
Gene, everything was like from A to Z. He wanted to give all the points. I said, no, you're not in school. You're not in mortuary school. The people are not going to go in and bomb somebody. They don't need to know everything. They just need to know the
Yes.
basics. And you need to
Mhm.
entertain them. Tell me fun things. And then he
Mhm.
told me things about mixed up body parts, mixed up bodies. One time he comes in, the body that he's looking for in the morgue is not there.
Oh
Like, did the
wow.
body go for a walk? I mean, come on. And there were so many, many, many things. And so many secret things. Like, for
Mhm.
instance, I mean, interrupt me. You want me to tell you
And
more
I'm
now,
listening to
or
you. No, no, no. It's fine. I'm
go
listening
on?
to you. Come on.
Because I could
Just
go
go. It's
on.
okay.
Like, I don't want to tell you everything now because you're not going to buy the book. Okay,
So
you got to buy the book,
exactly. No,
but I'm going to tell you
I'm
some
buying the
things.
book. I'm buying the book. I'm supporting.
All
So let's
right.
go. And most of my listeners, I hope y'all all buy the book. Let's do this. Okay.
Yeah, it took him over 30 years to get this
Mm-hmm.
question. He had a list of questions that people asked him and answers. And it took me and him like a year to go through this because we are regular folks. We work, we have
Mm-hmm.
families. I'm not sitting on an island and writing this. I'm working in
Yes.
Brooklyn. I got a two-family house. I got the tenants. I got myself upstairs. I got to pay rent. Same as
Mm-hmm.
and mortgage, same as everybody else.
Yes.
So I was writing, yes, but we were meeting maybe twice, thrice a week. And it's, when you want something, when there is a will, there is a way. You do it.
So
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 that's how we started.
yeah, in the writing part, so he dictates to you and you write. That's how it
Um,
works, or
no, no,
okay,
no,
how does it work? Mhm.
no, that's like you have typewriter for that. You have voice, text. He
Yeah.
usually he had some of it he had written down, and some of it I take my phone and I just record him talking about it, and then I kind of go through it in my mind. If I just
Hmm.
type something, I'm not a writer. That's not what the writer does. I know it seems
Yes.
like, okay, just tell me, I'll write it. No, no, no. First of all, for me, I decided to do a couple of things. Number one,
Hmm.
I decided let's take out all the boring parts. Let's take out
Yeah.
all of the boring parts, like where
Hmm.
you were born, where you went to school, how you met your wife. Okay, let's just get to the interesting parts. So I took out
Hmm.
all the, I promise you, there's not one section of this book that you're not going to read with interest. People
Okay.
who read this book, they can't put it down. It's really true. So
Hmm.
I took out all the boring part. I got rid of that. Like I just went for the cool stuff. That's number one.
Hmm.
Number two, I thought to myself, okay, how do I make it interesting? People now they don't read, they text, they see, they do podcasts. So I thought, what about emojis? And I put every section of this book has an emoji. Well,
Yes.
here I am, bad with tech. By the way, this I don't know if you can see this well. This is
Hmm.
like if I can, put it like this. It's going to be a warning sign. Every time you see
Yes.
this warning sign, it's going to be something gruesome, something horrible, something
Yeah.
disgusting. So you don't want to
Hmm.
eat, before it. Just trust me.
Okay. Hmm.
So I took emojis before each story and I broke it, the whole thing into stories. And to go back to the question, what the writer does, I made an ending to each story. It's either going to be
Mhm.
funny, like real funny and unexpected, or it's going to be something really cathartic, something really sad and tragic, or it's going to be shocking, or it's going to be truly informative.
Mhm.
Like, I don't mind saying it because it's public knowledge, but nobody knows this public knowledge. Have you ever heard about the fact that if you have a low enough income, if your loved one dies, you don't have to pay for funeral? The government will help you.
Really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that. That
When we
that
hang up, when we like close, when we say bye, go on the internet and check it out.
yes. Hmm.
So
Yeah,
when
that's
somebody
crazy.
dies,
Hmm.
SSI also pays a survivor benefit, not a big one, but still.
Yeah, it's
And
something. Yeah.
everybody's always scared. Like they get SSI, it's like, oh God, I shouldn't take the SSI of my aunt or uncle. I should send it back. They're going to arrest me. Well, guess what? You did not get the survivor benefit.
Yes. Hmm.
I mean, it's something that's important and it's not promoted. And
Yes.
also, the funeral homes will never tell you this. I'm sorry to
Hmm.
say, they will never say that, hey, you don't have to pay, if you qualify. I'm not saying, for rich and
Hmm.
famous. I'm talking about regular people. So
Yes.
that's one of the things, that's an
Hmm.
informative one. Then there are funny ones, there are horrible ones. I
Hmm.
already know a lot of things, too many things, but I was not, I was never into funerals. But to me, this was just like a really great concept to write about it. That's why I took it on.
Yes. Now, I remember a time. I remember when my mom passed away, and she was receiving Social Security, and I believe the funeral home actually notified Social Security that my mom passed away, and I think it was like around the time that she was supposed to receive her payment, and she didn't receive the payment because they notified them that she passed away. We were counting on her payment to pay for part of her funeral. So and
There
we
you
didn't
go.
fight for nothing. So you see, like we just let it go. So that's like that's an important detail to something to know for most of the listeners out there. I think that's very helpful. Hello, Mr. Mortem. How you doing today?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. So
Nice to
you're
be with
on.
you.
You're fully logged in. Finally, yes.
Yep.
Yes,
Welcome to the
sorry
show.
about that.
Welcome to the On Everything podcast.
Thank you.
Um, we we're talking about the book,
Yes.
uh, and we were talking about the origins. Like, how did you guys get started with this idea and this concept? So I just wanted to know from you what was your initial idea when you first began this endeavor of writing a book?
Well, the initial idea was with me for a very, very long time
Hmm.
because I had been asked questions my whole life from people, a lot of misconceptions that they had, um, from literally people thinking you take everything out of the body to breaking bones and
Hmm.
all sorts of stuff. So I thought it would be good to educate people first on what actually happens. Secondly, to teach
Hmm.
them so they don't get ripped off because people don't understand that the funeral business is simply a business like any retail store. They don't
Yes.
think of it in those terms, but in actuality, that's what it is. So people
Hmm.
get manipulated. There's marketing. They're
Hmm.
pushed towards certain things to spend more money.
Hmm.
Many times money people don't have, and they get taken advantage of. Not 100% of the time, but at a very high percentage rate because it's business. That's all it is. It's
Yes.
business.
I was just telling Nadia about when my mom passed away, and I remember just like I remember a time when I sat down in the funeral home, and we were talking about the arrangements that we were making for her funeral, and I remember they slid a tissue box to me,
Yes.
and I slid the tissue box back to them. I said, I don't think I'm the one that's going to be crying here today. Like
Mm.
we're gonna work this out. Like I'm here to do business now. I'm not here for the emotional part. I had already cried my tears out, and I'm just ready to get that. I'm in business mode now. So what is this gonna cost, and how
Correct.
can I save on this, or whatever. Like I actually did the eulogy for my mom's funeral. I'm a licensed minister, so I did the sermon. I did everything, for my family. So, like I kind of cut around like a lot of cost of, bringing other people in, and even, I have a church, so I use the church, and I did everything, most of the stuff on my own. But
well, you had knowledge. You had knowledge, which most people don't have.
mhm. Yeah, because I've done funerals before, so like it wasn't my first time around the block, you know.
Well, let me give you just a simple example of what people
Hmm.
should be told, but they're not told in most cases, because not every funeral director rips people off. So
Hmm.
usually you need pallbearers. So
Hmm.
director will use the pallbearers that he provides from the funeral home for a fee. Not even an option given to people. There's
Yeah,
no reason to use pallbearers. Family can be pallbearers,
absolutely.
but yet they don't do that here. You know,
Hmm.
it's not an option that you're often told that you have, and
Hmm.
yet the funeral home, it's like a $400 or $500 add-on to your funeral bill,
Yeah.
and it's not necessary when family could carry, or even churches. As you could just
Hmm.
take the casket into churches. There's no lifting involved other than taking it out of the hearse.
Hmm.
So it's just little things like that that if people had a little knowledge and by reading the book, they'll gain
Hmm.
that knowledge. I think it'll be helpful.
Hmm. So the intention of the book is to inform people of secrets of a funeral home, right? So it's to inform
Yeah.
people of secrets of like how to operate in dealing with funeral homes and what goes on behind the scenes, right?
Okay. Let me ask
So
you a question. Let
sure.
me. How many people shop when they have a funeral? How many funeral homes do they go to? Usually just the one they know. They don't
Yeah.
go to funeral homes and compare prices.
Hmm.
But yet they do that for a car, they do it for a refrigerator, they do it for a stove. It's a
Hmm.
mentality that you have to, change, and you'll end up saving thousands and thousands of dollars.
Hmm. So one of our Sean Don, one of our listeners, he's asking, how long after a funeral service can you do a cremation?
How long after?
Yeah,
Hour?
I mean I've seen it done like immediately. I believe.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Immediately. No reason why it can't be done immediately.
Yes. So what's like some of the strangest things you've dealt with in dealing in the funeral business?
Well, uh,
I, and let's go with something that's not in the book because we don't want to reveal too much that's in
Yeah,
the
please,
book. So let's go with
please.
something that's not in the book.
okay. I don't know. Maybe this is in the book, but it's okay.
Okay.
Um, we went and picked up um, somebody's dad in the middle of the night, a normal
Hmm.
day. Um, Somehow I think we lost our camera. I don't know.
No, we see you.
Um,
We hear you.
okay, so normally you'd pick up the remains and then you'd bring it back to the funeral home and you'd
Hmm.
leave it there, go home, go back to sleep, come back in the morning and prepare it. In this case, the family wanted to come with us to actually watch the person being embalmed, which
Hmm.
was really
Yeah.
odd and strange.
Yeah,
Something
that's
that,
weird.
yeah, which I never experienced.
Hmm.
So the person sat there literally while we embalmed his dad. And, when it was all over, I said, why would you want to, watch that? What was your reasoning?
Hmm.
And he said, well, somebody told me that you have to break all their bones and their legs and, to position them and all of that. And he said,
Hmm.
you can do that. And it's like, yeah, because it's not true. It's not something that people do. Um, I just thought that was strange at 3 o'clock
Mhm.
in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning for somebody to want to watch us, preparing his dad.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's like really weird. I don't think that I could even sit through that. That's like nuts. I mean, I've heard some crazy stories like people replacing bones with different things. I've heard crazy stories like of
Oh,
things that happened, you know, or like people that had to get an autopsy afterward, like, and a bone was replaced with something, or a body part was missing, or something like that. So I've heard some crazy stories. How
well,
accurate are those stories? Do those things actually happen? Like, is there a case where like people are actually out there selling body parts or anything like that?
all right. So the way to answer that question is what happened was there was a doctor or slash dentist, very
Mm-hmm.
bright guy, and he went to, I believe it was 31 different funeral directors, and
Mm-hmm.
he sold his services. And his services were he worked for a company called Regeneration Technologies in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, he harvested, which is a surgical procedure. He removes things from the human person, sends it to Florida. They
My.
and in most cases it was bones.
Mm-hmm.
They examine it for diseases and everything else. Some of it they reject, some of it they accept, and
Mm-hmm.
then they remanufacture it into something that could be used as an implant in people.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy made a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a publicly traded company that he was on.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was the district attorney, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
whole backstory to this, but essentially, this turned out to be the biggest case the district attorneys ever handled in New
Mm-hmm.
York. So they played it to the press. They got a lot of misinformation out there. And the harvesting company, Regeneration, what they do when a bone is taken out, they give medical PVC, not Home Depot PVC, but medical replacements. And that's what the harvesters put back into the person to replace what the
Mm-hmm.
bone was missing. Needless to say, it looks horrible on paper. The Daily News had a full page picture of an x ray.
Mm-hmm.
And they play off people's emotions. But it was something that's been done for years and years and years. It's just that the public never knew about it. And in the doctor's case, why it was such a big case was because I think he did 1,077 cases. And of
Mm-hmm.
1,077 cases, he had very few permission from families to do the harvesting. That's where the problem came. He didn't have consent. But
So,
they
so
really
it does
heavily,
exist.
excuse me?
Yeah, but don't reveal everything that we have in the book.
No, no,
I'm
no,
going to
That
give
no.
him
is
everything.
crazy. So
It's
people
all
really
in the
are.
book.
So, mhm. I think. Well, I was talking with my cousin. We were driving past the funeral home that did his dad's funeral, and he was like, "Shout out to these guys. Like they helped me a lot. They gave me a good deal, whatever, right?"
Hmm.
So then we were talking, and like when I was younger, one of the things I looked at as something that I could do, in a future business, like I would be doing it now, was I said that I would open my own funeral home, right? So he was like, "Yeah, man, that's a great idea." And this is how we got on the subject of the body parts being missing. So I believe that he said that they looked at it was somebody's uh the leg, like the bone in your leg, it was missing, and they
Yes.
replaced it with a crutch or something like that, or something of that
With a
magnitude.
PVC, with a PVC pipe.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like, oh my God. Without, I mean, I couldn't imagine, like my any of my loved ones who, like passed away and we had to do an autopsy and we found something like that in there later, like that is bananas. So Sean's question actually was, how long after a funeral service can you get an autopsy done?
Yeah.
That's what he meant.
Immediately after.
Mm-hmm.
You could do it before the service or after.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. There are private pathologists that do those things.
Yeah, but for the most part, you want to get it done before, because like like the body done been through a bunch of.
You'd want to do it before you did an embalming.
Yeah.
But the embalming really wouldn't change the cause of death and helping
Mm-hmm.
confirming it, because it's frequently done. The police will order a case in, take it right from the funeral home, and
Yeah.
give it to the pathologist for an examination.
Have you ever had a situation like that where a funeral was scheduled or about to start and like they had to take the body for autopsy or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Even when it's already started. Sure.
Oh my goodness, that had to be madness, huh?
Yeah, well, one or two times, I removed the body from a house, and
Mm-hmm.
naturally you have to strip it down to start the preparation, and
Yeah.
you see like all kinds of bruises and black and blues, and
Mm-hmm.
something suspicious. There's something, so we'd call the ME to come over and take a look, to do a topical examination themselves.
Yeah.
So, it could be serious. Somebody could have been murdered.
Yeah. And that's a big difference. Yeah, it would make a big difference. Like, I mean, like, because that's one of the worst things is to have someone pass away and not really know how they passed away, and
Sure.
dealing with that as a family, like that's unimaginable. Like, the circumstances under which I remember my mom when she passed away. She was in the middle of getting surgery to remove infection in her gallbladder. So, like we had no idea, like, so, of course we got the independent autopsy and,
Mm-hmm.
it just happened like that. So it wasn't like any foul play or there was no errors on the doctor's staff. But, like, man, I remember I grabbed the doctor up, like I was really upset,
Of course.
Yeah. I'm like, what happened? Like you told me it was an 80% success rate, like, I mean, and I had just promised my mom, like, listen, Mom, I'll be there after the procedure. I'll bring you food. Like we were talking about what she wanted to eat afterward, and she was fine going in. So like that was really a crazy situation. It was really tough.
Oh God. Wow.
Yeah.
Had you not done the autopsy, you'd be living with that doubt the rest of your life.
I actually had the doctor's address, and I would have had to make a visit. I had his home address.
How old was your mom, if I may ask?
She 59, I believe. She was 59.
Oh my God, that's nothing.
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. Wow.
It's a
I'm
very
sorry.
common occurrence. Less now than years back.
Mm-hmm.
Doctors put a generic cause of death on the death certificate.
Mm-hmm.
Really what the person died of.
Yeah.
And they do that simply to avoid having to deal with the medical examiner.
Mm-hmm.
The cause of death on a death certificate doesn't, in most cases, and I say that in most cases, does not truly reflect what the person died from.
Wow.
They always put down like cardiac arrest, all natural causes.
Yeah. And it could be something like I believe what it was with my mom was the sepsis, I believe it was.
Yes, an infection of the blood.
Yeah. So that's actually what they put down as the cause of death after the autopsy, because originally like we didn't know what she passed away from. And I remember fighting with my job because I was actually doing a job doing medical records at the time, and for work. And they were telling me, hey, when you coming back to work? I'm like, listen, I'm not coming back to work until I know exactly how my mom passed away. Like, you guys, if you gotta let me go, let me go. I just need this time, to deal with what I'm dealing with. And, they end up letting me go eventually, but, I didn't care. I'm like, hey, I got to take care of what I have to take care of, priorities first,
Sure. Most people don't question, doctors or hospitals or the funeral directors, they just do with whatever they're told.
Yeah,
They don't second guess people,
it's true. It's very true.
Okay, so right now we're gonna take a brief break. It'll be a few seconds, so just stay right by your computer.
Sure.
We'll be right back with the writers of Secrets of a Funeral Home. That's Nadia and Mr. Mortem. Thank y'all so much for joining us, and we'll be right back. Okay.
Looking to podcast shows and do not know where to start? The Evening Rush Network can help you with that. Call us at 929-441-2417 or email us at theeveningrushnetwork@gmail.com for dates and prices. We got you for all your podcast needs. The Evening Rush Network. Tune in, subscribe, and share.
And we're back.
Oh, wow. That
All
was
right.
fast.
See, I told you that was really fast, right? Like you blink and it's like right back. Okay, so we're back to the On Everything podcast. We're sponsored by Sayings by Butter. Thank you, Butter. We appreciate you and all that you do. We're back with the writers of Secrets of a Funeral Home, and we're going to continue this conversation. So, what was the funnest part about writing this book? What was the funnest thing like that you could think of about writing a book?
Who should answer, me or Mr. Mortem, or you want both?
Yeah, so whoever want to go first, go ahead.
Go ahead, Nadia, you go.
Well, for me, like I started to say in the beginning of the show, as a writer, I get so many people sometimes come to me and say, hey, write about my life. Now, this was something that was so shocking to me. I had to write about the embalming process. I had to read and then take it apart and then actually imagine how it's happening, because Mr. Mortem, you know all about it, but regular folks, we don't know. So the fun part for me was probably first getting over that initial shock and then getting to it.
Yeah.
And I just decided, how can I make every story, almost every story funny? And he had to stop me and he used to say, Nadia, you don't need to sensationalize every, story. So basically, it was fun to work together because I felt like Mr. Mortem is more, serious, and you could see it, I guess, by our demeanor also. And I'm just more, if I could say so, more fun. And so it was fun.
That's messed up, Nadia. I'm more fun.
No, not in a bad way. I'm just saying, I'm about the entertainment value, of anything that I do in writing.
Yes.
And so it was really interesting to kind of like mix the two. And we would sometimes go on and on about a sentence or a paragraph, or that was really interesting. So yeah, that was fun for me.
And how about you, Mr. Mortem?
Well, it was interesting because I couldn't see how humor could be injected into this. Any stories. But when I started reading some of the things that she had written, and then I got on board, and I think it worked out pretty well. It breaks up a very serious subject and gives everybody a little giggle. At the same time, people go, "Wow, really? Did that really happen?" So
yeah,
I think it's good. It's a good balance. It's definitely a good balance.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, laughter is good for the heart. It helps you get through so much. If you go a day without laughing, you had a miserable day.
Yeah,
You're right.
Sorry, I mean, I've seen enough misery. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like that. I mean, you have to have some kind of temperament to do the job that you do. Like, I understand, like that is really, like it's tough. I mean, like I said, I've done, quite a few funerals in my lifetime.
Mhm.
As a minister, and preaching at the funeral, and it's really tough. It gets emotional even for me, and I have like limited, sometimes I don't even know the people. I don't know, I don't know, their life stories or anything. And, I still feel that personal attachment just because, we all understand loss,
Yes.
and
Yes.
Sure. But
yeah, it's a real
Right
tough.
on. Right on. Yeah.
one
It's a
of the
very
Mhm.
tough
things,
situation.
oh, go ahead, Nadia. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just want to say you can never get ready for death.
Mhm.
Everybody thinks, okay, we're going to be here today, no, nothing is going to happen. And I, as an attorney, I have clients. Let's say I spoke to somebody. Next week, this person is dead. It's a
Mhm.
shock. And let's say they were young, or I mean, it does. You're always young for death. Even if your mother is 80, you're really not ready for it unless the person is sick for a really long time, which I don't wish on anyone. But in your mind, you are not ready. It's
Mhm.
never something, okay, let me get ready. When, my loved one dies, it never happens. That's very tough.
Yeah, it is. It is. And okay, so let's give us some more about the book. Mr. Mortem, how long have you been in the business?
Oh, 30 plus years.
Okay.
Yeah, a long time. A long
Hmm.
time.
And
How
whose
long you,
idea? Whose
yeah, I
idea
just want
was
to
it
ask him,
first?
like, wait, let's ask him, how long you've been waiting to write this book?
A long time. I mean, I finally put it to paper, and I think I've accomplished what I had intended, and
Yeah.
Hmm.
to inform people, and you know, uh, let them go more prepared for whenever something happens, and also let them, you know,
Hmm.
prepare for it before it happens. And
Yeah.
that's something
Yeah.
people don't do in most cases. They don't even like
Hmm.
to talk about it. But, you know, people, which I've heard so many times, oh, when I die, I don't care. Just put me in a box and then that's it. And my original
Yeah.
title of the book was When I Die, Will I Get What I Want? And
Hmm.
if people had talked more, they would get what they want. But they're afraid to
Yeah.
talk about it.
Yeah.
And,
Hmm.
you know, with that emotional weakness comes opportunity to sell you something you don't need or want.
Very
Yeah.
true.
And that's what happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, see, like I mean, like for me, I have a very elaborate plan for when I go. Right. I said,
Okay.
okay, I want to be cremated. I want my ashes to be put in jewelry and given to my children, and that's it. That's all I want.
So
That's a good plan.
who did you tell this to?
I told it to my current girlfriend right now. I spoke about it with my children's mothers. So like, I wanted them, to be sure and to make sure they're ready when it's that time. And I'll make sure I have the insurance and enough money to do what I want. Like I really, like that's just the goal of mine. Like I just want to,
Well,
I want to be chilling with my kids when I pass away.
2 points I'd like to make on that. One, in
Hmm.
terms of saving money, you know, people that read the book will save a lot of money. I'm
Yeah.
100% certain of that. Two,
Hmm.
many people say, "Oh yeah, it's in my will. It's in my will." Well, you know what? You're not going to read the will till after you're buried or cremated.
Wow. Mm.
You
So you
know,
got to make sure you're constantly communicating coming up to
there's
that
there's
time.
there's no reason why people can't have a conversation about it,
Hmm.
because I've seen so many funerals where people have, you know, flowers and this and that, and it's totally opposite of what the person really wanted.
Yeah.
But people get people buy what they think you wanted,
Hmm.
usually not what you wanted. It's
Yeah.
usually
Yeah.
what they think you wanted, which is
Hmm. And that's very important. Just knowing, what the person wanted.
yeah, absolutely.
That's very important. Like that's, like, I remember, again, I always refer back to my mom because I was the closest person to me that passed away. But when she passed away, my family had a meeting, we had a meeting, and my brothers were like, hey, listen, you got to preach for this funeral because mommy would want that, right? And I'm like, geez, man, like, how tough that is, like,
Sure.
to get up there and have to speak. And, like, so what I did was I got to the church very early with my mom's body when it first got there. I got all of my tears out. I got everything out, before. And, I just toughed it out through the rest of it. But, like, that was difficult, man. Like, but I knew that that's something that my mom would want. And, that was the most important thing for me. Like, just making sure that what they wanted gets done. And, hey, Zipporah, it's like, I think that it's imperative that we honor our people that pass away in the way that they would want to be honored, and not only that, but we should live in a way that honors them as well.
Yes.
So that's the next part. It's like, I still live my life in a way that would be pleasing to my mom.
That's perfect.
Sure. Which is right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it always goes back to knowing, what your mom wanted. You were the exception than the norm because you had discussed it in some way, shape, and form.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I have a cousin. He's 76 years old. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Read the book. Really hesitates to comment on it. I said, did you talk to your kids about what you want? No. I go, why not? Well, I don't know. I'm not too comfortable, but I'll have that conversation. You're 76 years old. What are you waiting for? So now what happens? The kids are gonna say, well, what do you think he wanted? You think he would like this casket, or you think he would like that? Maybe he doesn't want a casket. Maybe he just wants to be cremated.
Yeah.
No. And that's what this book will teach people, that they need to talk about it and not get ripped off when they go to a funeral.
And a lot of people, they seem to believe that the cremation is, like, just a cheap way out. But for me, I think about my body. I don't want bugs crawling on me. I think about that stuff. So, I know I'm not there no more, but listen, I don't want bugs on my body. Like, I'm scared of bugs while I'm living, and I'll still be scared of bugs when I'm going. So please don't let bugs crawl on me. That's all I'm thinking about,
There's natural burials today. There's Muslim burials.
Mm-hmm.
Jewish burials. In each culture, each religion has different beliefs and different traditions on how to handle someone who's passed away.
And we address it in the book, and we address it as to why the Jewish funerals do not have a rotten flesh smell. That's all. My lips are sealed. I will not say no more.
That's a secret that people.
Yeah, that's a secret that's for the book. But what? There was a comment here that I want to address. There was a comment, and she wrote that people are, mostly afraid of how they would die and not just of dying. And I agree with that. I tend to agree with that because there is this Roman philosopher that said there is no need to fear death. Where she is, we are not there, and where we are, she isn't there. But it's true. We can never know what happens. We can all hope just boom, and it's over. But what you said, Jean, about your mom passing and you living in her memory the way that she would have, that really resonated with me because you love her. And that's really all we want to stay after we are away, after we are off this earth, for our children, for our loved ones to care, to remember us. And I think this book, just coming to this book, for Mr. Morton, this is something, when I met you, I saw how much care, how much really feeling you put into all this information, how much you wanted for it to be there. Because all of his experiences, all of your experiences, I should say, they didn't just pass. They're here in this book, and it's really invaluable information. It's like your life is here, and it's actually touching a lot of people because the experiences that he's had, I mean, nobody, at least nobody I know had.
Yes.
You know,
Mhm.
so I just wanted to put it out there. It's important to have your legacy, whether it's your love for your family, whether it's your values, all of that, and actually information and care for people that Mr. Morton displayed to me every time when I met
Mhm.
him, and we met. How many times we met? We met twice a week, I think, for a year.
For a
So we
while.
Wow,
really got to know each other through the
that's
process.
some commitment.
Yeah. But
Yes.
one of the things
Mhm.
about the book is, people said, well, who's your target audience? Listen, there is no target audience because everybody, no matter your age, your religion, or anything else,
Yes.
everybody has to deal with death in their life.
Mhm.
Whether it's a grandparent, a parent, a dog, whatever.
Yeah.
So the book will give people a really good rounded education on how to handle it and do the best. And that's what you want, is to do the best for the person you love.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And most of the time when I do speak at funerals, that's what I focus on. So like, especially if it's for someone that I don't know, it's like I just try to focus on the family and comforting them and reminding them why we're here. Like,
Yeah.
and a lot of times like families don't get together unless it's for a funeral or a wedding,
Yep.
like, and that's sad.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like where were you, like all these years? Like like that's one, family values are very important. It's big for me. So I try to make sure to remind, people like, listen, like we're family. This is all about family. So, if you love this person, then you're going to live in a way that would, please this person,
Right. But
Yes.
like,
Yes. You're
so
right.
let's,
family, though, and you've seen it, I'm sure, at many funerals.
mhm,
Funeral could be a unifying event amongst families, and sometimes if anything, it makes things worse. Oh, you were never there. I was there. Now you're only here for the money and everything else. And people start
mhm.
fighting. I've seen fist fights in funeral homes and everything else.
Yeah, he's seen some stuff. We discuss it.
Yeah.
Trust me, some crazy
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean, like I've actually read like or sort of like where like people have shot up funerals. So like is that
Yeah.
is like, but then, I mean, like I think like that's the ultimate disrespect. To do
Yes.
something like that.
It should be off
Like
limits. Off limits.
yeah,
I
yeah,
agree with you.
yeah, that's kicking somebody when they're down. Like that.
Yeah. Well, I've done funerals with some very high profile people that the FBI were interested in.
Hmm.
You know, been many times they've been
Wow.
taking pictures of everybody walking in or walking out, and they're in unmarked cars and they're videotaping
Hmm.
everything. And, they're like, let's go out the back door. We can't go out the front because they're taking pictures. And, a whole
Right.
spectrum of people.
Yeah, that's bananas.
Yeah, well, you know what? No matter who you are, you die.
Hmm.
And whether you're rich, poor, you know, a high profile person or somebody living on the street, death
Yeah.
makes death makes everybody equal.
Hmm.
It really does.
Yeah, because that's the one thing that's guaranteed.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, it's when you go to a funeral home, it's changed a lot in the last 10 years or so. Now
Hmm.
it's sort of like buying a car with all the extras added at the end. Well, we can give you this, we can give you that,
Yeah,
this, it's only that. So
and out of the loss and the hurt and the frustration and all the things that you feel,
hmm
like you'll be compelled to add on a lot of things. I
yes,
want the best casket. Give me gold handles. Give me this. Like, give me that.
and
Like, because they would have loved this. And at
yeah,
the at the end of the day, it's just about
well,
putting to rest somebody
yeah.
that you love,
I mean,
and you lost.
there's people that go and say, well, we have insurance. And
Hmm.
the funeral director, which is very common, I'm not saying anything that's out of the ordinary. Well,
Hmm.
you know, just pay us and then you could wait for the check because they don't want to wait 4 weeks or 6 weeks for the check. They want the
Yeah.
money now.
Hmm.
put that burden on the family. Let them go out and collect the money. And I've seen it where they go to friends and ask to borrow money to pay for the funeral. They're
Listen, my my Facebook is loaded with people who do what is that? The GoFundMe
yeah,
for funerals. Like it's really, it's really sad, and
Yeah.
that's one thing that I try to focus on. I don't ever want my kids to have to do that, or my family. Like, so I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna make sure, come hell or high water, that like when I leave, I'm not leaving you guys with a bill. Like I always try to focus on that. I mean, unfortunately, like some people can't,
Of course.
if they
can't do
Everything
anything
different,
about that.
yeah.
But
hospitals want their money, doctors want their money, and so do the funeral directors want their money.
No, but it's good for the family to be prepared, of course, in any way you can. And,
Yeah.
just like you said, Jean,
mhm,
and like we say also in the book, the outside characteristics, all these show offs, they're not important. What's important is what in your heart. You be the
yes,
parent that your parent was to you. We see the way you talk about your mom, that smile hides a lot, inside. You
yeah,
remember her, you lose her. You told me 59 years of age. This is just a shock. This is horrible.
yeah, hmm,
But I see the love you have for her and the way you are, how you say you want to support your kids. You don't want your kids to see you asking for funding, which is I'm with you right there. I came to this country in 1998 and
hmm,
I worked every day, after graduating and during graduating. And I remember going to those law school classes and people were snoring during law school classes because they were working, they were tired.
yeah, hmm,
So we want to work, and we want, like Mr. Morton works every day in the funeral industry, and he doesn't want the people to be taken advantage of. So these work values, these things that we
hmm,
do and pass on to our kids, that's what's important to our families. And what we want
yeah,
to do in this book is share with you Mr. Morton experience and my way of sharing it in a way to entertain you and not to bore you to
mhm,
death, so you don't
yeah.
die reading this book from boredom. All right,
Yeah,
that I
yeah,
can
like,
promise.
and that's the thing. Like you guys, you did an awesome job of making it interesting.
Thank you.
Like, oh, I gotta go to the next page. I gotta see what's next. Like that's you guys did a wonderful job with that. Again, I don't want to share too much either. So, but like like you guys did a great job, and I recommend this book for anybody. Like I wouldn't have you on if I didn't think the book was good. Just so you know, like I do recommend it.
I
For
appreciate it. We
anybody
appreciate it.
that's watching right now. So in writing the book, like how long did it take you guys to actually from start to finish? How long did it take?
Mr. Morton, a year less? When did we get in touch?
Yeah, I
October
mean,
or?
it's been a while. We sort of lost track. We were meeting quite a bit. You know, I had
Yeah.
I had written the book and then sort of shelved it for a long time. And
Hmm.
then I met with Nadia and then sort of came to life. And you do have the finished product in your hand.
Yeah.
And also, we have a website actually that I set up that you could see some things on, about me, about
Hmm.
Mr. Mortem. And the website is pretty simple. It's secretsoffuneralhomes.com. And you could
Okay.
write to us directly, info at secretsoffuneralhomes.com. You could see us
Hmm.
also on YouTube. So get in touch.
So
Mr. Mortem would
you
love
guys
to
have the
hear from you.
YouTube page and everything set up.
Yeah.
So I'll go on all of that and I'll make sure that, like we share it to make
Thank
sure
you.
that people are able to get to it.
And we'll
And as
advise
far
you.
hmm?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Excuse- no, God, I'm sorry.
I mean, we're here to help people and advise them too as to
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
course of action they should take.
Mm.
Yeah, that's free of charge. Email us your question. Mr. Morton will answer it and I will, relay it. So
Okay.
we keep the only secret that we will not reveal is Mr. Morton's identity because he's basically the truth teller, all right, on the
Yes,
industry.
absolutely.
So you can write to us and any questions that you were afraid to ask or you didn't get a chance to ask or you want to ask if this happened correctly at your mom's or dad's funeral or whatever, just write to us on the website. You'll see the email and we'll answer. We're here. So
Yes. Now, Nadia, as far as like what you do, like Are you working on any more projects? And I'm going to ask Mr.
Yes.
Mortem the same thing. So, are you working on any more projects?
I go first. Okay, so
Yeah, you
yeah.
can go first.
Well,
Absolutely.
next one is Secrets of the Banks. I'm just joking. Well, we'll see.
Wow. Okay, I was about to say, oh my.
Well, maybe we'll see. But I'm actually, yes, I'm working on a couple of scripts. Like I told you in the beginning, I did get to be in semifinals and quarterfinals of Nickel Fellowship of the Academy of Oscars, which is kind of great. And hopefully, the dream of writing professionally for me comes to life. With Mr. Morton, we would like this book to grow. So we'd like to see if, more experiences and more questions of people that come our way, we could incorporate it in the next book, obviously without any details. And the scripts, I cannot reveal too much, but it's actually romantic comedies with dramatic flair. So,
Wow.
I'm a person that likes to entertain, but I like the serious stuff too. So that's why this subject brought me so much joy to write about it, even though it was so hard, because this is something that you don't come across every day. How often can you open the door to a funeral home and go inside and look and see what happens behind the doors? Never unless you work there.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Wow, that's amazing. And Mr. Mortem, any projects you have coming up?
Well, there's one that I'm speaking with somebody. It would be some sort of series. I don't want to give the whole thing away, but it's basically about two funeral directors responding to a scene throughout the course of the day. They might get kind of like two policemen riding in a police car, and they get a call and they don't know where they're going.
Yeah.
There, that type of thing. So
Wow.
There's some interest in it.
I mean, because and like I've seen some like weird funeral commercials. Like there's two series. Yeah, on Netflix, I believe it is. Like they have series like with the funeral homes, and they had some crazy commercials like where the dead person wakes up and say, "Hey, no, take me to this funeral home. Don't take me there." Like it's like a really crazy over the top commercial, but like I get it. I get that. Advertising the funeral home is like. I mean, you're going to be funny, or that's a tough business to advertise. But
yeah,
it's and
like welcome, come in.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. It's a business. That's all it is. You could do funerals with pop-up ads for funeral homes.
Like, can't wait to see you. Hey, drop by.
Yeah,
right. Come next week.
Yeah, but and the funeral business, like you never step foot inside of a funeral home until it's time it's time to take care of business. But like it helps to know people, of course, and to get advice and to know what you're looking at the end. Like so it really helps to have that knowledge and to again, listeners, if y'all listening, write them, ask them any questions that you like, and I'm pretty sure they'll be very helpful.
And get an education. Really?
Yes, write a book. Could you show us the book again? Come on,
yes,
put it up.
Yes,
like,
I'm here to do this.
I wish you could have held it up for the whole show. Like,
Secrets of Funeral Homes, everybody.
Yes.
It's on Amazon, by the way. You just write Secrets of Funeral Homes on Amazon. You can get an ebook, or you can get a book that you could show everybody, and you could see, how to have sex in caskets. Okay, I promise you could see that. Well, can't see that, but you can read it.
Whoa.
Right?
How to have sex in caskets?
Well, maybe not. I won't say anymore.
That's the hook.
That is bananas.
That's there.
I promise you, I'll never try that.
I promise you, I never tried it either.
Me either. No, I'm taking the fifth.
Oh, God.
Mr. Mortem, we don't believe you.
I cannot say anything, but you know what?
Oh my goodness!
Like you said, you're right.
there are some.
You know, and it's crazy, you know, because like I breezed through the book, I looked at a lot of stuff, but I didn't like pay attention to that. I'm going back in there.
I'll give you the page. I'll give you the
Yes.
page.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I need to know what happened.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but it's been wonderful talking to you guys. Like I look forward to working with y'all in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and like you know, like I know how hard and difficult it is to write a book. I've been trying to write a book for 8 years now. Like I
Call me.
Yeah.
I will call you. I will, absolutely. I start, stop. Like, you know, it's just hard to just stay focused to go from, you know, chapter to chapter and get all the stuff in there that you want.
Text me.
And I definitely will. No. If you can help me
All
out,
right,
you know,
so
definitely.
we talk.
We'll definitely work on that. Yeah, but I know how hard it is to write a book, and you know I appreciate the work that you guys put in. It's really a quality work. Again, you know, we look forward to working with you guys in the future. I will be, you know, advertising your stuff, and you know, making sure that people see it and get the word out about the book.
Sure.
I definitely look forward to that.
And you know, if you get hit with questions and you want us to come back,
Yeah.
answer them, absolutely, we will.
Yeah, would love to. And we were actually planning to have a podcast with all the questions that people want to ask. And as soon as we get more questions, we'd love to do it with you. You're a great host, you know.
Absolutely. We could do that, and you know, like we'll work on that in a couple of weeks, and we'll come back. I'll get as many questions as I can get, and then you know I'll stay in contact with you guys, and we'll do it again. Unfortunately, my co-host wasn't able to make it, and she had questions as well. You know, Aisha, we know you couldn't make it today, and you know, but we appreciate you. And she, you know, like she'll be here next time, and you know, she'll have her questions as well. And you know, we look forward to doing it again. All right. I thank you guys so much. Thank you, Mr. Mortem. Thank you, Nadia. And that's on everything.
All right.
Thank you.